Hello. Today is a blood moon eclipse. So as the moon is eclipsing as I speak, and it's the day before Easter, April 4th, I thought it would be a good day to talk about what I've learned about forgiveness. You know when you're going to have good relationships with people based on their ability to be forgiving. I don't remember who said marriage is the union of two really good forgivers. Something to that effect. You can Google it. But it's true. And it's more than just with marriage, it's with any kind of relationship dynamic, friendships, family members. When you are the closest to other people, it's usually people that have an innate ability to forgive. How do you know when someone is a good forgiver? How can you tell? Because it's kind of nice to know ahead of time before you get too close and then there's a misunderstanding or miscommunication or somebody interprets something wrong, and then that's when you have to figure out who's a good forgiver and who isn't. And then you're at this crossroads in a relationship that you didn't want to have to ever be at. So one of the best ways I've noticed in my life and how I've learned to be a good forgiver is when you first of all learn how to be very forgiving with yourself for things that have happened in your past, whether they've happened to you or to loved ones, what it is that you do with that, and how long you remain in a victim mentality. Because we all can be victimized, but we remain victims as long as we allow ourselves to. Same with suffering. We're all hurt by other people. We all are capable of inflicting pain on others, but the suffering through it is when it's our fault, our responsibility. What do we do with that? We have to hold ourselves accountable as to how much we choose to suffer. So look around at some of the people you know and think about people that have what I like to call faux connections. Faux connections are when people look like they're connecting all the time, maybe with a lot of different people, but are they actually connecting? When you dig deeper, they really are actually avoiding connection by looking like they're connecting. Now, they might have different reasons for doing this. Maybe they're trying to really connect with other people, and they just don't know how because there's some block within them and they haven't worked through whatever that is yet, or they're too afraid to, which is pretty much the most likely, because when people operate this way, it's out of fear. They might have a lot of sexual partners. They probably have a lot of what appears to be a lot of friends. They're always out and about doing things, doing. But sitting and being with another human being, being intimate and being able to be that way consistently and really connect with individuals in a quality level over quantity, that is where there's a great challenge. Because at some point, when they get really close to people, then all of a sudden conversation turns into what has been done to them. This person did this to me. I have been hurt by this person because they did this to me. So if they're looking to connect with other people based on something that has happened to them, they remain victims and they are not very good forgivers because they are not capable of holding themselves accountable and seeing what they can do to resolve the situation. They're maybe afraid of confrontation because they don't want to hear what somebody else might have to say about them, because they might come up with something that the other person never even imagined. So again, they're basing everything on fear. So the people that have a lot of drama around them or talk a lot about how they don't like drama are usually people who have drama or attract it, but then they blame other people for bringing drama into their life. People who don't have a lot of drama don't have the need to talk about it. They don't say, I don't like drama, because they just don't have any in their life, and it just is the way it is. When you are in a relationship with any human being, a friendship or anything, and there's forgiveness back and forth, you can already tell that something will happen. That's just life. That's relationships. Somebody's going to screw up. But you've already forgiven them for that because you know you guys can talk about it and you can have good communication around it. You might go a few days of needing some space, But forgiveness includes healthy boundaries, self-respect, as well as respect of the other person. And it doesn't include bashing someone else or needing to have conversations around what's happening to you all the time because you're in this victim state. So on this Easter Eve and those celebrating Passover, just keep in mind the idea of forgiveness and what that means to you in your life. Are you able to forgive someone else if they did the worst possible thing, the thing you're most afraid of? What happened if that happened? What would change? How would you get through it? Would you be able to communicate with it? I can give you one example of when I have had the most trouble forgiving. And it sounds very trite when I talk about it, but I'm going to admit it. When I was doing really terrible and I was going through my divorce and I was in love with somebody that was an avoidant, I would talk about him all the time and complain, and I had to slowly let that go. But then when someone more healthy came into my life, and even though on the outside he didn't look healthy, but he had the emotional health I needed in the moment, I lost all the friends that I was always complaining about to the other person. I was complaining about an ex-husband, or I was complaining about this lover person. And when I started to pull out of that and I started to learn what healthy was, and I started to work on myself first, as I started to learn who I was in a relationship from reflection from this other person that was in a space to offer that to me without expecting anything from me, I started losing these people that I was so close to that I thought would be there for me forever. And on Facebook, they stopped communicating with me and they stopped acknowledging me, and it broke my heart. And I had to end up unfriending them because I had this expectation of constantly wanting to be acknowledged by them. Where did you go? I thought you'd always be there for me. And I could forgive that, and I understood where they were coming from because they were most interested in my drama, and I didn't have it anymore, and they didn't feel a connection with me anymore because it was a faux connection. So I had to release that, and I unfriended them because I was having an unhealthy attitude, because I needed something from them that they couldn't give me, and that was unhealthy for me to put that on them, and that would keep me in the victim mentality every time I felt ignored by them. I got into my child state and pouted. So I had to do what I needed to do to keep my healthy boundaries for me, to keep a perspective as to where the problem really lied, and it was how I saw it and what I expected from them, not them. So I know this one is long, but those are my thoughts on forgiveness. I think it's a very, very important topic. Thank you so much. Have a lovely Easter Passover weekend.